What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Free channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and I am driving through the state of Kentucky. Just got out of Tennessee. I'm on I-65, headed north up to Michigan. Got a load out of Georgia, headed up to Michigan, and that is currently what I am doing. And I figured I'd make a video on this nice, beautiful sunrise morning, and I really like this drive through Kentucky. Kentucky's one of the prettier states to me out on the eastern side of the country. I like Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, northern Georgia. A lot of these. Virginia is nice, but Kentucky's right up there with all of those. So I just figured I'd make a video. By the way, if you're new to the channel, like I said, my name's Tyler Freed. This is the Living Free channel. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more content in the future, and I will get on to the topic of today's video. And the topic of today's video is self-discipline. How important is having self-discipline out on the road? And what do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of different things that self-discipline will help you with in maximizing your time out here on the road. And honestly, self-discipline matters in everything in life, but I'm going to specifically talk about it as it relates to being an OTR trucker, or just a trucker in general. Having the right mindset and having the right thought processes and everything like that about how to go about your business and maximize, again, like I said, your time. Because honestly, we spend a lot of time out here as over-the-road truckers, as truckers in general, even guys that are home every weekend and things like that, or every night. I mean, we still spend most of our days in the truck. That's just bottom line. We spend most of our days in the truck. And so for me, I guess it really doesn't matter too much if you're paid hourly to have much self-discipline, because that's a totally different type of trucking. But I'm specifically talking about what I do. You're either getting paid a percentage, or you're getting paid a rate per mile. And that's typically how the pay works in trucking, OTR or regional, typically. Now, there are a few companies that do salary and hourly and things like that. However, it's not very common. And so, what does that mean? It means that we basically get paid for our self-discipline, for our effort. That's what we get paid. We basically get paid a commission. That's really what trucking is it's a commission-based job. It's a commission-based, it's performance-based, So however many miles you do in a week typically dictates how much money you are going to make for most trucking jobs, right? Now, there are other things like bonuses and things like that, but however, those are add-ons. Bonuses are different for every single company, and those are just add-ons, but your main pay is your miles. Now, if you're an owner-operator, you get paid a rate, for the load. You get paid on a per-load basis. It just kind of depends on what rate you get paid by the broker or by the shipper. But I'm talking specifically as a company driver, because that is what I am. And so I'm going to be talking about some things that I believe are really important out here in maximizing your time, maximizing your income, so that you can really get ahead using trucking to get ahead. So let's talk about things like time management. Time management is number one in trucking. I mean, not wasting time, not stopping too often, not so number one, it's, for me, I try to do this, right? When I start my day, I do my pre-trip, I get everything ready to go, and I try to drive a minimum of 3 hours before I stop for the first time. So what I do is I have coffee in my truck. I have a coffee pot. I make coffee in my truck, so in the morning, I don't really eat breakfast, things like After that, I will drive it all the way until my 30-minute break. So we have to take a 30-minute break, before that 8 hours of drive time comes up. So what I do is drive the first 3 hours, then after that, after I take that break, after I get my coffee, go to the bathroom, things like that, 10 minutes, I'm going to drive it at least another 3, probably 4 hours, and then I will take my 30-minute break. When I take that 30-minute break, that's where I eat. I sometimes, if I'm wanting to just be able to park anywhere I want, like park on an entrance ramp, park in a rest area, because I don't really like to stay at truck stops. I really don't like to do that. I try to stay at rest areas as much as possible. So what I do on my 30-minute break is I'll run in and I will take a shower. I'll take a shower, I'll do a little workout, take a shower, I'll eat, and then after the 30-minute break, I'm back on the road, and I do not stop that truck until I'm ready to shut down for the night. Okay, so a grand total throughout the whole day for an 11-hour drive shift, a 14-hour work clock, I try to stop only 3 times that whole day. And yes, does that take a lot of self-discipline? Sure, it does, absolutely. And I learned this from another YouTuber, and honestly, it works, because if you discipline yourself to not stop all the time, you will get way more miles. You will run. You will save a lot of time. You will open opportunities up for yourself, But if you're one of those guys that stops every 2 hours and goes into the truck stop every time, doesn't use the rest areas, doesn't use entrance and exit ramps, if you're one of those guys that wastes 30 minutes every time you stop, you're not going to make a lot of money in trucking. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, this is a time-sensitive business. You have to be moving, and that's how you make the money, honestly. And it does take self-discipline to sit there for 3 hours at a time and not stop the truck at all for 3 straight hours. That is tough to do. There's some guys, man, that I know, they start driving and they don't stop until their 30-minute break. I can't really do that. I got to get out and stretch the legs, get the blood flow going at least one time in between my 30-minute break. But I honestly believe when you start your drive shift, you should only stop 3 and 4 times maximum. And if you have to stop a 4th time, that should be just to go to the bathroom. But eating and all that stuff, that honestly should be while you're driving, having snacks, available to you up front, things like that. And then when you stop, actually have that meal for your 30-minute break. Or some people don't really eat until the end of the day. It really just depends. But the point is, run your time out. Be running the whole time. You want to be on duty as little amount of time as possible and driving as much amount of time as possible. And you don't want to burn up your 14-hour clock either. Okay? You want to try to save time every day and have that roll over to the next week that you're driving. And if you do recapped hours and things like that, right? And if you don't really know anything about trucking, then I don't really feel like explaining the hours of service. So this video is really for people that are new to trucking or they're already in trucking. But if you're here and you aren't in trucking and you're watching, thank you for watching, by the way. But anyway, so yeah, so that is really important, not stopping a whole lot. That's number 1. Number 2 is when you do stop for the night, and I also learned this from another YouTuber in trucking, is, we are obligated to take a 10-hour break after our 11-hour drive shift. We are obligated to take a 10-hour break. Okay? So when you stop for the night, honestly, I believe, you should set a timer. You should only be in sleeper for 10 hours. Okay? And you should set a timer. And that timer should be like 9.5 hours. So you set set a timer for 9.5 hours, and that means that's when you're getting up. Why 9.5? You have 10 hours of sleep. Well, because, you know, when you get up 9.5 hours later, you have 30 minutes to make coffee, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, do what you need to do to get yourself up in the morning. And then you can, once that 10 hours hits and you get your hours back for the day, you got another drive shift coming, then you can do your pre-trip. Okay, so once it hits 10 hours, bam, do your pre-trip. That should take 10, 15 minutes. Then you're good to go. You're already up, you got your coffee, you're ready to go, right? Don't stay in that sleeper berth more than 10 hours. Don't do that, right? And that is something that both of these things, not stopping a whole lot, only staying in the sleeper berth for 10 hours at a time, is absolutely golden. If you know how to manage your clock out here, you can make six figures in trucking once you get a good enough rate per mile and you're with a company that runs you, that gives you the loads, okay? And that's the key too, you know? They have to be giving you the loads to run. But if you're with a company that you're sitting all the time, go to a different company. That's just bottom line. I'm not going to be with a company that doesn't keep me running all the time, because I'm a runner. I like to be moving this truck for every second, you know, every second I legally can. Honestly, I try to move this truck. So, and that's what you should do if you're trying to make the money in trucking. You know, that's what I have learned. That is my experience, is if you do these things, like not stop too much, only stay in sleeper for 10 hours, you know, don't go to truck stops all the time. That's another thing. Like, yeah, it's tempting to go to truck stops because they have all the amenities and things like that, and food and snacks and you know, souvenir shops and all that stuff. However, it is a huge waste of time. Getting in and out of a truck stop takes a lot of time, right? I try to only really go there, you know, when it's early in the day, you know, before like 2 o'clock. I try to go there, get a shower in, or if I have to fuel, obviously I got to fuel there. But you know, other than that, I try to sleep. I don't try to sleep in truck stops. You know, I sleep in rest areas, right? Because it's quicker when I get up in the morning, when I'm at a rest area, it's easier for me to just pop onto the highway. It's on and off, right? And so, you know, that's honestly, these things are honestly very important, you know. And yes, like I said, self-discipline is going to be really the title of the video, because it does take self-discipline to be able to drive that long without stopping, to only stay in sleeper berth for 10 hours, to do that for a long period of time. Now, it's not that hard to do for a week, but after like 2-3 weeks, fatigue starts to really mess with you. So, but however, if you can do it, you know, you can make a lot of money. I mean, it is the difference between $2,000 and $3,000, you know, a week, or not a week, sorry, a month. $2,000 and $3,000 a month difference on the same pay rate. Like the same mileage rate, you know, you can make $2,000 and $3,000 more than that other person that makes the same rate as you. That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, those are just some things like self-discipline, okay? And one key is, and I talk about this a lot on my channel, like educating yourself while you're out here on the road. Well, how do I drive that long without stopping? Well, there you go. You could buy audiobooks, read audiobooks, and, you know, really educate yourself while you're driving. And honestly, when you listen to an audiobook, a lot of them are, you know, 7 to 10 hours long. Well, listen to an audiobook for 4 hours while you're driving, and just listen, you know, and that'll pass the time, and you'll be learning something. You'll be making good money because you're getting good miles, and also you'll be learning something, you know. Or you can listen to videos on YouTube. They're educational, things like that, right? Like, don't waste your time out here, you know. That is vitally important. Don't waste your time while you're driving. I have videos about that. You should definitely check them out. However, you know, it's just really, it's common sense, you know, honestly. are lazy, and the ones that are lazy usually quit out trucking. And the ones that aren't lazy and that are motivated are the ones that do really well and have a long career in this business. And I've noticed that, right? So, long story short, have self-discipline out here. If you're thinking about getting into trucking, talk to people, talk to veteran drivers, honestly. I'm a big believer in that. Talk to the old school guys, the ones that have been driving for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Talk to them, ask them, tips and tricks, how to maximize your time and stuff like that out here, because honestly, don't waste the time. Don't waste the time getting into trucking if you're not going to have discipline. If you're not going to have discipline, don't get into trucking. It's the worst possible career for you to get into if you're lazy. It really is. You're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to make a lot of money. A few other things are like sleeping at shippers. Utilize that. Like, if you're going to a place and you're picking up or you're delivering, and you're able to make it there the night before, absolutely sleep at the shipper if you can. 100% do that. 100%. Because you don't even have to start your clock in the morning if you make it there, and they allow you to stay. And that, again, that's if they allow you to stay there. Not all shippers and receivers allow you to stay there. But if you can stay there, absolutely do that, because you can get unloaded or loaded and not start your clock until you're loaded or unloaded. And that's another big thing. A big discipline that drivers that really do well out here, that is something that they do. That is something that they do. They sleep at shippers and receivers all the time, right? It's highly efficient. So that's another big thing. That's pretty much all I have for this subject, but it is one that I really care about, because I honestly, want people to do well if they get into trucking. I want them to do well, because this is a great business. If you do it the right way, it is a great business, and I really think this business is represented poorly by a lot of people.